This is an article that I hung on to from when we had the rental truck of peace on Halloween. The following day, this article was put out, and I saw it on Facebook, and I hung on to it because I thought it would make an interesting video. It's a short history of ramming attacks, and it has a subtitle of what we saw yesterday. Like I said, this was put out on November 1st. In Lower Manhattan was pioneered by Palestinian terrorists in Israel. Now, you wouldn't know it from consuming American media, for whom any attention of the Jewish state as anything but an aggressor is an inconvenience. But the sort of ramming attacks that were done on Halloween, they were first used against Israelis by Palestinian terrorists. Now, the very first attack, according to most available records, occurred on February 18, 1987. An IDF force was patrolling the Askar refugee camp just east of Nablus, and at around 9:30 a.m., as the soldiers were approaching a school, a Mercedes driven by a Palestinian named Samir Ibrahim Harisha took a sharp turn, plowing into the group. Now, one soldier, Nur Batan, was tossed in the air and sustained a severe injury. He lay unconscious in the hospital bed for more than a year before succumbing. Another soldier was wounded in this attack. Less than 2 years later, on November the 30th, 1989, Avigdor Dahari, a father of 6 who operated a food stand just outside the Gaza Strip. So not in the Gaza Strip, but in what is considered Israel by everyone, mostly everyone, was closing up shop for the day. A hungry soldier approached him and asked for a quick sandwich, and Dahari was glad to oblige. As he was preparing the food, however, a car driven by a Palestinian terrorist came careening down the road, hitting this Dahari guy in the head and killing him on the spot. Ramming attacks remain popular with Palestinian terrorists throughout the last 2 decades, with perpetrators opting for larger vehicles like trucks or buses to maximize casualties. A 2001 attack left 8 Israelis dead and 21 wounded, and another in 2008 killed 3 and wounded 36. Now, I also want to stop here for a second and say, there's a channel that I watch. A lot of you might know this channel. Dr. David Wood, the Acts 17 Apologetics channel. He talks about how they actually advise the trucks of peace and the cars of peace. They advise that because it's a really cheap way to do terrorism. But, they're putting up all these pylons and stuff, and something that was pointed out in a news segment on Fox, where they had Pamela Geller on and a few other people. I think it was one of the other people who said this. Pointed out, they're going to put up all these pylons or whatever, but these people will just find another way to attack people. They'll always find something. Anyway, moving on in the article. Palestinian websites and social media channels, including some associated with Hamas and the PLO, have been celebrating ramming attacks for years. PLO's Facebook page, for example, shared a post labeling itself as Daesh, the Arabic word for run over with a car, and it's a play of the word Daesh. So, and that's ISIS in Arabic. Another post shared by the PLO featured a popular song called Run Over, Dear Friend, Run Over the Foreign Settler. Have fun. Israelis have been dealing with such terror for years, and sadly now the rest of the world does too. And of course, it's big time. It's been we've been seeing this a lot. There was at least 2 attacks in London where they particularly rammed people over on the side of a bridge. So, I think a lot of the major bridges in New York City, though, the pedestrian pathway is much more removed than that. Because I remember, after, what was it called? The, Superstorm Sandy, I had stayed in Manhattan for that. And I walked home to where I live, which is in an outer borough. And I walked over one of the bridges, and the traffic was, like, very removed from me. These bridges in New York City are like a mile long. So, anyway. But yeah, the pedestrian path, it was quite removed. Like, it wasn't right on the bridge. But it was almost like another bridge right next to it, or like an extension of the bridge. It's definitely, and there's like not just like some flimsy guardrail, but there's generally like a large, almost caging to guard the traffic from the pedestrian area, at least on that bridge. And also, there's a few other bridges that I know of, and I think also the pedestrian areas are pretty well guarded from the general population that is driving on the bridge itself. The foot population versus the non-foot population. Anyway, so that's it for today. I thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I will see you guys all next time.